It's my pleasure to welcome you all to another great homecoming, this time Purdue Civil Engineering style. I want to thank all of you for joining us this morning, and also want to extend a special thanks to Purdue President Mitch Daniels, Krannert School of Management Dean David Hummels, and College of Engineering Dean Meng Chiang. Thank you all for being with us. Homecoming is a very special time for all of us. It's a great time for the alumni as they return to visit the alma mater, reminisce, and look back at the place that they once called home for several years. It's also a great time for us as we get a chance to say thank you for the loyal support, the continuing support that our alumni give us. It's also a chance to basically visit with each other and talk about each other's successes. One of our very recent successes came maybe a little less than a week ago when the US News and World Report ranked our program the 5th in the nation. Thank you. In fact, both our undergraduate and graduate programs have been ranked in the top 10 for the last decade or so. So we are very proud of that. And this is obviously possible only because of the incredible alumni, friends, faculty, staff, and students that we have. So it's a pleasure to work with this group. Talking of incredible alumni, we have with us Jack and Kay Hockema, who are surely some of the most ardent supporters, best well-wishers that our school has had. Over the last 4 decades, they have essentially generously shared their time, their wisdom, and have provided us with support in many ways. Let me give you some examples. After getting his undergraduate degree with us, Jack actually got a master's degree in management, where he now serves on the Dean's Advisory Council. And they have essentially supported a chair in management, and they also have provided an endowment which supports faculty summer research. Within the School of Civil Engineering, Jack served on our advisory council. They have essentially provided support for 2 named professorships and have provided matching funds for a 3rd professorship. Jack and Kay also supported the Bowen Lab. For athletics, they have recently provided an endowment, so are the Breeze Leadership Group. So these are some of the examples, the many ways, myriad ways that they have essentially supported our program. So Jack and Kay, a big thank you from all of us. And now, I would like to invite the president of our university, Mitch Daniels.
Thank you, GS, and thanks. Welcome home, everybody who's back visiting, and any complaints of indigestion based on the food preparation, it should be directed to GS over here. I've already conducted an inspection and found multiple violations on the table. I've got an errand here in a minute. It's the real reason I'm here, but I can't be in this place and with this group without telling you what you already know, which is I don't know who they think the other 4 top programs are in the country, but they're not any better than this one. And I learned this before I came to Purdue. I had so many experiences like it. One that comes to mind, I'd given a speech at some giant construction industry convention, and as always happened in any such place, the whole line of Boilermakers came up to say hi. And I said something to the host about it. I said, that happens every time I'm around one of your companies or trade associations, that seems to happen. And the guy said, oh, yeah, he said, everybody knows that. He said, we have a saying, nothing important gets built in America without at least one Purdue grad around somewhere. And, that's not limited to this country. Just one more quick reminiscence. Made a trip to Asia 2 or 3 years ago when we went to Taiwan, and one of the really nice events that Amy Noah and her group had put together was a roundtable dinner with sort of the Council of Elders. We have a lot of alums over there. We had great events with people of all ages, but this was people who were been active and stayed in touch with the university over a long period of time. I'm guessing a dozen or more. sitting around one of those big oval or round tables, lazy Susan style, you know how they do. And I guess the chairman of the group said, why don't we all introduce ourselves? And as they went around the table, I basically heard the entire construction of that country described to me. One fellow said, well, I'm so-and-so, and I built most of the bridges. The next fellow said, well, I built most of the railroads. I built the power utilities here. I built the highway from here down to Kaohsiung. By the time they got around, there were a couple of non-civil engineers in the group. They were distinguished too, but I realized what an impact this particular department inside this particular college has had everywhere. And it's just one of our very proudest traditions, and so that it's appropriate you get together every year, and that we take a minute to honor one of your many, many, many great graduates. Jack and Kay Hockema have been as good of friends at Purdue University as I can name. As GS just told you, I don't know, I'm sure there must be somebody back there who endowed chairs in more than one college, but they did have, as well as other ways of support that you heard about. This is a typical Boilermaker story. These are two kids from Lafayette Jeff, I think, wasn't it? High school. We are, this weekend, beginning our 150th birthday celebration. I think hope you all know that by now. This is really the launch. There was some discussion early on, well, we have to have some sort of a label, some sort of a banner, some sort of a slogan for this thing. What's it going to be? And before very long, somebody said, well, you know, it's 50th anniversary of the lunar landing too, giant leaps. The minute that somebody said that, everybody, case closed, stop the search, that's it. Why does that fit us so perfectly? Well, first of all, because of the giant leaps in the advancement of knowledge that this department, this college have been at the forefront of for so very, very long, and that we hope will even exceed in the decades that follow. But to me, the equally, maybe even more fitting application of that slogan is the leaps that this university has helped young men and women make in their own lives, individual lives, from its very beginning. Why were we put here? To expand the opportunities of higher education as broadly as possible. We're still involved in that 150 years later on new frontiers. So I've said over and over, the greatest single joy, I could list a lot of joys in this job that I've been favored with, but the greatest single one is meeting our alums who came to this place from ordinary or modest circumstances, out of a small town, off the farm, out of an inner city somewhere, and then made giant leaps to great achievement. And Jack and Kay Hockema are perfect examples of that. And so for all they've done, but I just want to say not just for the generosity, which is what the Pinnacle Award specifically recognizes, but just for the lives they've led, the examples they've set, the children and grandchildren they've sent to Purdue. I can't leave that out. I've got Cassie here and Logan back there is being worked on right now. So, Logan, you'll make your own decision, but I don't like your chances of going anywhere else with this lobby involved. But that's what I would just like to say to the two of you. Yes, of course, we're so grateful for your generosity, your membership in our Champions Committee, which is, I think, going to deliver a very successful outcome to our capital campaign. But just for the way you conducted yourselves and the way you've represented this university every day of your lives. Please come forward and accept a little token of our appreciation.
Thanks. Well, Purdue's been a big part of our lives from the very beginning. My great uncle, Frank Hockema, where's Mom here, was Dean of Engineering. Yeah, and then was what today is the provost of the university back in the 40s and the 50s. Both of our daughters, Meredith is here today, both of our daughters graduated from Purdue. Got one in Cranard School, we got two here, as Mitch said, headed for Purdue for sure. Yeah, so it's really been integral to our lives. I was busy working for a few years, and about 25 years ago, Vince Drenovich and Don Fry reached out to me, got me engaged. GS mentioned me being on the Dean's or the Advisory Council here, but got me back engaged with the university. We started doing some giving then. But after that, it was really when Mitch came on board here. So the last 5 years, we were so impressed with his vision and the execution of that vision. And now I've gotten involved with the Dean's Advisory Council at Cranard, the things that David's doing at Cranard, GS here, the engineering school. Just so impressed. So we're so pleased that we have the ability to give back to the university. We focused most of our giving on faculty. For the students, the faculty really is the university to a great extent. That's what really, those are the people I remember from the time that I was here who really formed me, formed my career. So thanks to all of you, and we're glad that we can give back to you. And thanks, Mitch, for your vision and what you're doing to take a great leap forward for this university.